and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of Naymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah, online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Crash Course, and we are we're bringing you some live updates as things evolve on the fly. We are literally about an hour away from the first round of qualifying, which, looking back at some of the stuff that I was seeing online prior, that's a bit of a schedule change. We're starting a little earlier than we'd planned.
Yeah, a little bit. I think he's trying to maybe beat the weather a little bit. We've had a passing shower, I think you'd call it, come through.
Passing shower that didn't pass. It's been here for a solid hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours now, and it's really hampered everything. You know, you see people out there trying to cut. Was just off to our vantage point from where we are right now. You see junction boxes with 1, 2, 3, maybe eight extension cords running out of them, leading to various iterations of campsite, be it a school bus and or a camping tent. All of the extension cords running through at least 2 inches of water.
Oh, absolutely. Just makes it a little more interesting.
It's not interesting for me. I will hard pass that every time. Hard pass.
Hey, it's cheaper in here that your equipment doesn't get quite as wet in here, so we're going to stay in here and save you a little money.
Completely. I agree completely.
Sun's coming out. I think the sun's going to come out. It's probably going to be somewhere around mid-60s. Track's probably going to dry up, be a fast track.
Didn't we do that before?
Where's that? For 20 or 25 years on dirt? Yeah, we've done that. Right around race time, everything's going to clear up, and we're going to be good. We still have a few cars coming through tech. Oh, excuse me. Had some an interesting day at tech. Is that
let's jump right in there. Go ahead, because I know you want to start with Logan Duvall.
I wasn't going to start with Logan Duvall, but
were you going to start with Dustin Ingram?
I wasn't going to start with
We're going to start with Jimmy Johnson.
Any names
How
particularly? Any
How
names
about
particularly? But there's definitely been some interesting goings on through the inspection line. We haven't heard officially who is and who's not running.
We saw the toughest family in Demolition Derby working on a wire car earlier today. There was a woman nursing a baby while welding on a control arm, which was...
I missed that.
I
must have been driving. I was driving. I was trying to keep us safe.
Yeah, well...
Unlike you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Tech inspection has not been the easiest path for some drivers.
No, they definitely had some different interpretations of stuff.
Yes.
Yes. And again, we touched on it earlier. You're going to have that, you know. Are people going to complain to be upset? Yes. But unfortunately, it's going to happen. It hasn't happened here in years. They haven't had big issues in years. And, you know, again, until you know, the green flag flies and they say that, you know, inspection's done, you can't come through again, we're not going to really know who is or isn't running.
Well, there's some arguments over the interpretations of some rules. And do you stay hard and fast to what it says, or do you stay hard and fast to what the interpretation is? And that certainly compounded some of the discussions, I guess is the best way to say it, because nobody was overtly loaded.
No,
that we come across, and there wasn't anybody that was overtly rude.
No,
but there was some very spirited conversations.
Yeah,
to say the least.
I mean, they discuss stuff, but again, I mean, you know, I don't believe, you know, they were told, hey, load your car. You know, guys are given the option. Some guys, there was just too much they would have to do in order to get back within what the inspectors, you know, wanted them to have. So, you know, obviously some guys have loaded, but again, until, you know, the heats start and we get our lineups to see who's, you know, actually running, we're not going to know. But you know what, you're going to have it. It's going to happen. You know, hopefully everybody learns from it, and you know, next year we'll, you know, it'll be another chapter. But
there was a prevailing rumor that the turn back the clock class was going to be a one and done. I don't believe that is true.
No, I don't think they would do that. Not with 40 cars. That
car sounds pretty good.
Wow. There's some tilt in that. I don't believe they would ever do one and none for turn back the clock. I don't think you would ever see that.
Even if you did split heats, I mean, if you have 60 cars, you can do 3 heats, a couple heats of 4 heats of about 12 and still be okay.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely,
15?
absolutely. I haven't heard an official number. I've heard 38. I've heard 40. I heard 46. So again, we'll have to count and see. I mean, there's still cars pulling in. There's a couple beautiful wagons just went through inspection. Hopefully, they're able to get the stuff corrected they need to get corrected. But again, man, we're just as a kid on Christmas, I'm happy they moved the time up a little bit. I'm ready to see stuff start getting wrecked.
We're gonna be out of here in about 55 minutes. Appreciate everybody coming on and hanging out with us for the last little bit. There's one of the wagons taking off right now. I'll give you a look at that wagon. Super clean build.
They don't just grow Chevy wagons in Ohio; they grow mint Chevy wagons in Ohio.
Yeah.
They definitely no junk here.
Is there such a thing as too nice to smash when it comes to a wagon?
No such thing as too nice to smash when it comes to anything.
Anything?
Anything.
Period across the board?
Nothing.
How about the Heinden car that was behind us for a few minutes? That thing
was
is very
nice,
well put together.
Very nice car. Looking forward to it.
That was a Cadillac. It was an earlier version. It wasn't
Yeah.
the typical 456 that you see. It was an earlier version of that, and it was a beautifully well put together car.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of really nice Cadillacs come through here, and I feel like the Cadillacs have really become a very popular car here. There's usually some really tough Cadillacs.
Old Iron is Cadillacs and wagons.
Yeah, pretty much. But then, I mean, you look at the Syopa camp, and there's still, Buicks and Impalas. I mean, they do excellent with those. So, I mean, I guess it's your, whatever you feel secure in. Definitely some beautiful vehicles here.
So let's run down what we've been able to come up with. Josh Corletto not giving us anything specific when we saw him in the pit area, but the car is on the trailer and it's not coming off.
Nope.
Logan Duvall, there was a lot of back and forth going on. It wasn't politicking. It was arguments, almost maybe not even arguments. It was discussion within the pit whether they were or weren't going to fix what they were asked to fix. And there's been a big focus put on spring pockets. Mm-hmm. Whether stuff could or could not be welded in there was not the discussion. It could not be welded, period.
Yep.
And a lot of the cars that came through weren't welded, but they had something holding the spacer in there.
Yep.
And that ended up being something that was a point of contention for a number of drivers. And it ultimately led to us losing a few more. Pete Hansen confirmed his wagon is on the trailer. He won't be running.
Yep. Yeah, Pete told us that earlier this morning, which is too bad. I'd really like to see Pete run, but again, unfortunately, it happens sometimes. Hopefully we can get stuff straightened out for next year and go from there.
Well, I had a good conversation. I bumped into Devin Germain. Devin was hanging around, and we chatted a little bit. Duncan Cram, you want to come and sit down? No? Okay. All right. Thank you. So, we're live.
We are live.
I lost my train of thought. Oh, talking with Devin Germain, who thought he was going to be the recipient of one of those Mad Dog free passes out of his qualifying heat. Mm-hmm. Didn't get it. Ended up going with his buddy. His car is now being ripped apart as they try and build his running mate's car back into one piece so that it can come back out for the feature. He had a couple select thoughts on the inspection process, and they were great points. And we sort of went back and forth on this carousel of argument where, well, if you want what you did last year to go through, why did we have to update the rules this year? And if we updated the rules this year, why don't you want them enforced? And if you did it last year and that's your only argument, it's like, so where are you at? Because you can't have it both ways. You can't, it came back to that conversation that we had earlier today. It's like, is it a competitive advantage versus cheating?
Yeah.
And this is, I'm perfectly okay with this being a permissible tactic in terms of getting an advantage, as long as nobody else can do it.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And again, I mean, I'm sure that everybody's going to sit down and they'll talk stuff out and figure things out and go from there. But it's definitely there's been a lot of stress. But I mean, guys got months in these cars, and to come here and unfortunately things are interpreted a little bit different. It leads to some issues, but I believe that the Smash It crew and the drivers will get together and they'll get stuff straightened out. Everything will be fine.
How bad do you want that Newport that keeps driving by? You ever have any luck in those?
I've ran two of those style cars. The first one I ran was a 70 Yorker, and I finished third with it at Waterloo. Robbie Brown won, and Ronnie McMillan was second. Ronnie McMillan didn't hit a car all night, but I drove pretty hard. And then I had a Newport just like that, and I took it to Waterloo, and float stuck, and it flooded out. And I took it to Trumansburg and won my heat with it. So I've had all right luck with them.
It's like a 71-2-3, right? 69 to 73.
The New Yorker was a 70, and I think the Newport was a 71. Yeah. You don't remember those cars?
No. I was talking about the white one that went by. I was trying to gauge by the tail lights. I haven't seen a lot of those with lights in them.
No. Generally you don't. Generally you don't. But yeah, that was they're pretty good cars. I've had fun with them.
I haven't seen any Mopars on the grounds for the main
no.
classes.
Usually you run. Well, maybe there'll be a couple in the Joker Wire class. There's a few out there last year.
Well, I'm talking the main classes.
Oh no.
Turn back the clock in the 80s class. There's none of them. There's none to be found.
No. Well, I think last year there was a Mopar wagon here, and I think first shot someone
blistered it.
Yeah, they drove about to the middle of the car from a rear corner, and that was the end of that.
It's a sweet spot to hit those from.
Yeah, they're a little soft back there. Steve Siopa pulling in the 002, coming for retech. I think that's probably. That runs a lot like a 318.
Yeah, you keep saying that. Jimmy Johnson's car pulling in next, right behind Steve Siopas in the 002. Those guys going to be teaming up for Blizzard Bash again this year, correct?
No.
No.
I'm talking with Jimmy this morning. I think you're going to see Team Kansas, the original Team Kansas, back together.
Cool.
Was the way it was sounding. But I believe Todd, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I think some of the guys, I think they're headed back out as well.
That's cool.
So
I like that.
Absolutely.
Tough break for Corletto, not getting through tech inspection. There's a couple drivers I know when we bumped into Logan Duvall when he was waiting in tech line, and he said, "Hey, when I asked him, you gonna make it to the feature tonight, or you gonna wait for the consies tomorrow?" And he says, "I gotta get through tech first and make sure I'm not on the trailer."
What a well-built car, though. Oh my goodness, that thing is amazing.
Too well built?
Oh no, there's never such a thing as too well built.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
Never too well built.
All right.
People might not like the way you build it or agree with it, but you're never too well built. I mean, the craftsmanship. I mean, there's no bad looking welds. There's no shortcuts. Him and his family put a lot of time into those cars. It's if he isn't able to run it, it's a sad deal. He put great driver, great to watch him run, but sometimes that happens.
Following up more on the qualifying heats from last night with the compact, Jaron Rutherford did not qualify. Johnny Rutherford blew the trans on his way, so did not even get to run.
Wow. So they have a consi for those?
They'll have a last chance qualifier for them too.
Tomorrow morning, probably.
Yep. Jordan Rutherford is in the feature. David Tillery flipped over in his heat, back on the wheels, qualified for the feature.
That's cool.
The rear-wheel drive cars were looking very strong.
Yeah.
And they held their own.
Oh yeah.
As it were. So we'll be watching those, tooling through the pits. There was a lot of cars that didn't look like they had a whole lot of damage to them. So something silly must have happened. So I anticipate that's going to be a pretty congested track for that consolation round. Yeah,
it usually is. There's usually a lot of those cars. Big track though. I think they'll be all right. It'll be a good show. They'll be getting after it pretty well.
Another car coming in as we see the gentleman in the gray t-shirt, which you can see just beyond the back of that golf cart. That's Steve Siopa, and the gentleman in the hat, the blue hat, standing just behind Steve, is Jimmy Johnson. As they wait to get the final look over on their cars. Those guys were busy in the pits. JC Molly, once they got the wagon out of the way, they had to go right back to work and turn around and start getting these things put together.
Yep. Mark Siopa just pulled in with his Ols to be second time through tech.
Buick clip on the front of that.
Is it?
Yeah. Yep. Change things up a little bit on the front of that.
Did not notice.
Mm-hmm.
You get to the bottom of stuff.
I know sometimes.
That's what separates you from other people. You're good like
what
that.
separates me from other people right now is this cold thing that's going on. Nobody wants to be around me, and I don't want to be around them.
And I'm stuck in a car with you for 7 hours.
Well, total it'll be 14 by the time we get back home.
Yeah, that's terrific. And in the hotel room with you. Should I change my sleep in the van tonight?
Do I want to?
Yeah.
If you slept in the van, you'd blow the glass out of it.
Is that a knock on the possibility of me snoring?
That's definitely a knock on you snoring.
I won't talk about the sounds you made last night when I thought you were gonna die in the bed, but that's okay. It's
You're talking about the times in between throwing up?
Yes.
Okay. It
Yes.
was gross.
Yes.
It was gross.
But yeah, we're again counting down the time. Cars are coming up and getting their final techs in, getting their sticks and getting ready to head out. Gonna be some great action. Really looking forward to it. A lot of wagons here as usual.
Yeah, more than we had sort of projected, I guess, is fair to say.
Yeah, somebody predicted 8, and we gotta be in double digits for wagons.
Pushing 12, I'd guess.
Oh yeah, I'd say 10, 12 easy.
Now, getting looked over right now. Oh, no, you can't see it. That's the number 3. That's one of the Heinen cars. And that car, last year, that number 3 was out of control.
Oh yeah, he put on a great show. There's a bunch of them. I wonder if they're running a couple heats. Because I think I saw 2 fresh cars and then 2 pre-runs also. So I wonder if they're running a couple heats.
Broken down that way.
Is JC also running the Joker Wire class?
He has a car over there, yeah. Yep. I mean, I was surprised at the number of wire cars that were out there in the pits. Just
Yeah,
kinda
there's a lot of
tooling
wire
around.
cars.
There was at least 3 of them being built here.
Oh yeah, which is awesome to see.
I mean, we got out and got a chance to walk up and down Vendors Row. I can't believe all of the new parts vendors that have cropped up since
my
last
goodness.
year. I mean, people that are making pedals that we've never heard of, selling custom wheels, and we talked about it in our morning session. The pre-rolled trunk lids where everything's already flattened out and bent in, so you just basically put it on and it fits. Ingenuity,
Absolutely.
in entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
There's enough around here. We saw a Cordoba for $600. They had did you call that surface scale?
Some surface scale. It's a good.
Well, anyway, the
description.
surface scale led to holes through the body. There was one of those out there, and then there was like an 80, I'd say probably like an 85 Crown Vic, both of those being sold for $600. And there's enough stuff on sale up on Vendors Row where you could build a car here.
Oh,
If you,
absolutely.
if you wanted to run one of those in one of the wire classes, you could do it. If you had the manpower, you could put it together for a decent limited world show here with all the
absolutely.
equipment that's there.
Absolutely. Couple Chevy wagons I've seen for sale.
Yeah, there was a guy running around on a John Deere 3-wheeler.
What model?
It was only their 3-wheeler. Now I can't remember it. It was like their Turf Pro or something like that. It had the big bed on it, and it had for sale signs on the front and back. And I thought, perfect. We need to buy one of these because we're going to need one. That's not what he was selling. In the bed of it, he had a cut-off 76 Chevy bumper that he was selling, and it was like a pile of money.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of cool. There goes Heinen.
I think after the Derby, I think we should go get matching Crash Course Derby podcast tattoos on our necks.
Roof signs?
Tattoos on our necks.
Door wraps?
Tattoos on our necks.
T-shirts.
Tattoos on our necks. I think you would look great.
I mean, I don't...
That's the coolest thing I've seen this weekend. Too bad we can't get the camera on that.
It's a lawnmower that has been stretched and converted into a mini version of like an 18-wheeler with stacks and everything that's being used to flatbed and then tow a second power wheel out to the ring. Get a gauge out what's going on behind us. Did you see Jimmy Johnson's, the C-posts and the trunk lid? When they were canoeing it, the C-pillars ripped.
Yeah, I saw that. If he'd used the Grand Fury, that never would have happened. If I'm running, I change my tires to a 715 or 714 mud tire
Yeah.
around the
Did
car.
you see there was a white new style Crown Vic that pulled out here a little while ago, had a full floater rear end in it. No other unique factors to it. It was just a white Crown Vic, and it had to be a Virginia car. The front tires on it were huge.
Really?
It's like they got all their lift out of the front tires. They were enormous. And I don't know. I know that's going to be the way to go with a Crown Vic,
Well,
especially on a track that could potentially get soft in the opening rounds.
yeah, I everybody tries something a little different. You can't really blame them. Nice thing about that is you find out quick.
Yeah. Hopefully you brought other stuff to use for the Consi. Is that rude?
No.
Be rude. But, man, driving around here, the amount of work that's being done in the pits, not just to the weld cars that are going through tech now, but like even the street stock cars that are here early, that they're getting those final little bits of attention being paid to them.
Think there's a cam in that?
Yeah, I do think that. I'm not even sure whose car that is.
I don't know, but it sounded good.
Pretty much everything here sounds good.
Yeah, I haven't heard any motors that didn't sound good yet. I think Jason Koch got his.
The motor sounded good.
Oh yeah. I heard him driving out. Must be the lineup. So there's.
He was thrashing on that car in the pits.
Yeah.
I mean, they had both front wheels off. They were way up underneath the fenders, and torches blowing away. Up just down from him is where Pork Chop was set up.
Yep.
Pete Hansen. And it was.
We may have to venture over there.
It was all hands on deck for sure.
We may have to venture over to Pork Chop's place.
Yep. Checklists are out. You see Mike Decker and Steve Siopa at the front end of that car. Mike Decker in the gray coveralls and Steve Siopa in the gray t-shirt. They're looking closely at something right now and discussing a lot. The motor that you might be able to hear running off camera now is Zach Daniels, the number 116.
Yep.
Traveled in with Tommy Woodbury.
Steve had a great run going last year, Bash for Cash. Ended up getting stuck because last year they'd had to clean out part of the track, and he got over the edge and got hung up.
That was one of the things that Tim spent a lot of time on when we were talking with him. He said that he had gotten here early and did the whole track and then placed the walls to try and get around that so everything was solid and they had some base behind it.
And they definitely the walls now the walls they here have now on the one side of their track, I'd compare to what they had at Washington Courthouse, where they have the concrete, but then they also have a nice dirt berm behind it. So it's definitely, they had a little bit of a learning curve last year with the track, but I think this year is going to be nice. Again, it was hard. So I think it's probably going to be a little greasy on top to begin with, but I don't know how much of it sunk in. So I think after a couple of heats, we'll be all right.
Number 15 that just pulled in behind us was Easy Evan King in the number 15 from out in the Dunkirk area. We saw Dave King tooling around a little bit earlier with Pat Osmond.
Yep.
Pat Osmond had a great run in the wire class here last year.
But had a better run, except the fireman's car caught on fire.
Did you hear his explanation for all that?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
How many F-bombs were in it? Over under 20?
22-ish.
Yeah.
Pat's a good dude, though. Really, really good dude. He might be a little on the hyper side.
Hyper,
Is hyper a good word?
I saw his dad walking around earlier too. It was good to see him. Travis Charleston, I don't know if we mentioned him earlier. We bumped into him. He's taking in Bash for Cash 2017. Of course, you know, we're not going to be bringing any of the cars in action. If you want to watch all of the trackside activities, you're going to have to jump online, go to DerbyNation.tv, check that stuff out, jump on there. Easy to find, easy to order. Mark Klein and the Derby Tees crew, Steve Bucknam, George Hineout, working all day on that project, making sure that all the action comes to you. They were with you last night for the first round of qualifying with the compacts and those light trucks, and now we're going to have all that qualifying action kicking off here in just a little bit. We got about 15 minutes left, and then we got to get out of here because we got to make room for the folks over there for them to make their signal get out of here. And everybody at home that had questions about their confidence in purchasing, they have a solid connection here, and nobody's operating wirelessly, which is an awesome upgrade. Great to hear that was there, and you guys should have a great show to watch tonight over there on DerbyNation.tv. We're going to be on Derby Nation in a couple weeks when we go back up to Mandan. Well, it's our first trip up there. We're back to DerbyNation.tv. We're going to Mandan for the first time for a pay-per-view event up there. Anthony Jackson going to be in action up there. Tanner Workhoven, his return to Mandan after that frightening injury that he suffered in that shot where the bumper.
He had a good run at Capital Carnage.
He had a great run over there.
He had a great run at Capital
No ring
Carnage.
rust there.
No.
Must have been playing DDF8, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's like I said earlier, this is definitely the start of a very busy summer for us here with Crash Course. We're back and forth across the oh, good Lord.
Oh my God. Look who's here, John Pelican.
Good Lord.
Andy Wolfhanger here.
What's that?
That's John Pelican. It's a drag racing guy. He likes derby cars, and he's
Nice.
best friends with Andy Wolfhanger.
Nice. Very
Andy's
cool.
here.
You can bring him in if you want.
Right here, you coming?
No, you can have the spot.
Okay. Are we on air? Yeah, we're live right now.
What are you talking about?
We're talking about John Pelican.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Nobody wants to hear about that.
I appreciate you climbing over the fence and your zeal to get in here, but you've now messed up the camera. You got the camera all ski job by climbing over the fence. Nice job. John Pelican, you recognize John Pelican from the Final Round Drag Racing podcast on FigureLakes1.tv, but you've got a little bit of experience in Demolition Derby. What do you think of Bash for Cash?
I don't know. This is a little more than what people expect. I've never seen anything like this. This is the Super Bowl of demolition derbies for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's something everyone needs to come and see. You'll have a whole new respect for what's out there and what's going on. You know.
There's a guy out in the pits right now. He's out that way. He's got an orange Crown Vic, number 35. It says Farner on the side of his car.
Yeah.
He's got an insanely fast Chevy, drag racing car.
Really?
Yeah. We've been talking a little bit about drag racing. I was thinking about you because
There's a few drag racers out here. I've ran into a few of them. Friends with Andy, so it's not too far to my league.
where are you guys staying?
We got the motorhome out there.
Nice.
We brought the wife let me bring the motorhome, and I'm here with Kenny Schwingo and his boy and Andy, and so
you
we're having a
guys-
good time.
Did you guys see your pages up? Okay. You've
Oh.
never seen anything like this. You've been in the shop when those guys are building.
Absolutely.
Did anything that they build get anything close to this?
I think that absolutely. I think the stuff he builds is very up to par, but it's a matter of if he wants to spend the money and come to that next level of this, and I think everyone reaches their limit. And I don't know.
Here's the thing about Andy is he doesn't need to buy it. He can build it.
Right.
Andy Wolfhanger,
Yep.
keeping a very careful eye on our conversation. And in the
Very
event
careful.
in the event we go awry, feel free to jump the fence and knock us out.
Andy, you better get a picture of us. I told Chris I was going to come in and interrupt the show.
That's all
so
right.
Here I am,
We're-
everybody.
We're running just about out of time. We got to get ready because they've changed the schedule here, I guess, due to some weather. So
Oh, they did?
the heats, I guess, are going to be going off here in about 20 minutes. They're going to have the first heat on the track if they can get the track cleaned up and
Oh.
ready to go.
Cool.
So anything that you saw in your travels that stood out to you? Any cars that stood out? Any of the execution?
I don't know.
of the builds?
I guess I'm just amazed at the amount of time that these people put into them and the money. I mean, I was talking to a fellow out there, and he said he had a motor that made 700 horsepower and had all name brand parts in it. And I mean, just Jason.
Jason Koch. Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just all very foreign to me to see this. When you think of demolition derby, you think of a bunch of cars with no windows on them, smashing them up, and If any of you guys out there listening have ever seen anything, if you get a chance, come out and watch us because it's
There's a
definitely
lot
not
of-
your local fair anymore. Let me just tell you that.
There's a lot of unclaimed engineering degrees in the pits out there.
Absolutely. Yes, that's it. That's all it is engineering. But, so,
Andy's talking about getting you in a car. Have you driven one of his cars yet?
not so much one of his, but stuff that we've put together ourselves, and he's helped me along the way. He's got a caddy this year. I might run over in not Bath, but Batavia,
Okay.
and just so I can go out and have some fun. And I wouldn't do it if I didn't have a background with these guys.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
how was your weekend going so far?
Everything's been going pretty well. We drove down yesterday. It was about 7 hours down for us. So we got in last night about 11 o'clock, just in time for a huge thunderstorm to come through. So we went right to the hotel, and then we did a show earlier today. We were out at Vendors Row. We did Facebook Live a couple times and kind of gave a couple tours what was going on and talked about what we'd seen. And then this is more or less going to wrap us up for today, unless we come back and do a follow-up show. But I don't know if they're going to have this lit up to do it. And then we'll go into tomorrow.
Are you going to be on track live?
Nope. We're here just doing podcasts, talking to people, and the challenge that we're running into is that tech has been so rough on some folks that our guests that were lined up, they haven't been able to make it back, and now our schedule has changed again. That's why we were supposed to go live at 4. We weren't even supposed to be on right now. We were supposed to have another,
Are we live now?
Yeah, we are. Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, it's hot and sunny down here in Ohio and muggy.
Yeah.
So at least the weather's kind of worked with us. It's rained a few times, but
The rain hasn't knocked the humidity out of here yet.
no, it's very thick here. Home in New York, it's been cold and wet and miserable. So it'll be fun. It's going to be interesting to see these guys go out there and unleash all their 6 months of work at each other, you know. So, well, Chris, you've been doing a good job with everything. Keep it up. I just want to stop and say hello. And
You got to get up and see the new studio.
where's that?
We've relocated. We're not in the old Partridge building anymore. We're at Academy Square, the North Park building, which is right. It's like 2 minutes.
Has
from
Jason been there?
it. Yeah.
I wonder if Jason's watching. Probably
I
not.
doubt it. He's got a lot better things to do. I don't know. He might be.
Yeah.
He knew we were going to be out here.
How many viewers we got?
Judging by that, we got about 30.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Who's that pulling out? Pulling out. That was Jared Talbot pulling out in the number 204. That was a black Ford. He's from up in the Buffalo area. Spent a lot of time running at Dunkirk. That's where Andy picked up a win last year at the Chautauqua County Fair. He always runs out here. We've seen him run at the Keystone Nationals. At one point, he had an Edsel. That was one of the nastiest Edsels I've ever
Really?
seen or heard about. It was awesome. It was
From
a
the
very-
50s.
Yeah, it was a
Wow.
57 or 58.
And it
Edsel.
actually
was
held
nasty.
up?
Oh my God, it was a beast. It was a great car.
Wow. As you guys see at home, we're right in the heap of things here in the tech line. It's pretty loud.
Way off in the distance, you can see the 001 of Mark Siopa going through tech inspection, and the 711. That's one of the Cox cars, the Concrete Cowboys. I believe that car was on the trailer at one point earlier today, so I see it's come down off of it, now going through tech inspection. So they've either elected to make the change, or I'm completely wrong all the way around, and it's not the same car.
Now, I know Chris asked me to sing a song.
I don't think I did.
Actually, you're right, you didn't. I'm just kidding, everybody. He's like, I don't think I did. Did you get the message from Andy the other day?
No.
You would have known it.
What was it?
We were driving in the motorhome and I made a video.
Oh, that. It wouldn't play.
Oh.
I opened it up and it was just a still shot with a play sign on the top of it. It wouldn't play. I know what you're talking about. Ken Owen showing up. You got a car here? Yeah.
Cool.
Ken's a super guy.
Where are you going to be watching from, Chris?
We'll head that way in a little bit. I'm not really sure where we're going to be watching from. We're going to try and find someplace that has shelter, just in case another one of those thunderstorms whips up. Ohio, man, it could be like this, and in 2 hours we could have snow.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not complaining about the heat, though. It's been cold and miserable at home, so it actually feels good to sweat a little bit, I think.
Jimmy Johnson now pulling into position for his last look. He's got a stick already on the roof, so it looks like he is going to go. Jimmy Johnson going to be able to compete in the 2017 Bash for Cash. So, I don't know where Brian went, and I know our guests haven't shown up.
Chris, are you going to come to Empire Dragway?
Yeah, I'll get with you on that here in just a few minutes when we'll sign off of this and we'll go that direction. So, heat's about ready to roll off, according to the report that we got from Tech Inspection. 4 o'clock is the go time. I know right now DerbyNation.tv is about ready to get up and running, so that's going to do it for us here for now. We'll be back again tomorrow. We'll probably do some more Facebook Live of some of the action and activities that's going on here at Bash for Cash in the Ross County Fairgrounds, Chillicothe, Ohio. That's going to do it for us. We are the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast. And again, jump on DerbyNation.tv if you want to see all the action all weekend long from Bash for Cash. We'll see everybody next time.
Check it out.
The Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at SmashItDerby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at StirringDirtRacing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLinks1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.